In 2012, a 17-year-old boy named Jonathan Antoine walked onto the stage of Britain's Got Talent, wearing a plain t-shirt and carrying years of emotional weight. As he stood beside his duet partner Charlotte Giaconelli, Simon Cowell whispered a cruel remark, judging Jonathan's appearance before he'd even sung a note. But what came next silenced everyone. Jonathan opened his mouth, and his deep operatic tenor stunned the entire auditorium. That single performance became one of the most viral audition clips ever. But behind that powerful voice was a lifetime of pain. Jonathan had been bullied since the age of 4. Classmates mocked his weight, threw food at him, and left him crying in school hallways. While other kids played, Jonathan hid. But amid the suffering, a rare gift emerged. He had perfect pitch, a memory for music like no other, and a condition called musical savant syndrome. He could memorize entire operas after a single listen. Discovered by a substitute music teacher at 10, his voice was described as Pavarotti in a child's body. Though his talent soared, his confidence remained shattered. At 15, he entered a major singing competition weighing almost 300 pounds. Still, he earned the highest score in the festival's history and later won a place at the Royal Academy of Music's junior program. But it wasn't until he met Charlotte that his life truly began to change. She had the confidence Jonathan lacked and pulled him out of his shell. Their duets gained local attention, but it was Charlotte who insisted they audition for Britain's Got Talent. Jonathan hesitated, afraid of being mocked, but she pushed through his fear, even submitting the application herself just minutes before the deadline. Their BGT performance of The Prayer became legendary. Simon Cowell, who had laughed at Jonathan moments before, was left speechless. He called Jonathan a future star. They advanced to the finale, ultimately finishing second, but Simon offered them a record deal the next day. Their debut album, Together, was a hit, followed by Perhaps Love. But creative differences grew. Jonathan was devoted to classical opera. Charlotte preferred modern musical theater. In 2014, they split amicably and pursued solo careers. Jonathan's solo album, Tenore, debuted at #1 on the classical charts. At just 19, he became the youngest tenor to ever top that list. He performed with legends like Plácido Domingo and kept his focus on classical music. But behind the success, something was still missing. In early 2023, after years of anxiety, panic attacks, and emotional confusion, Jonathan was finally diagnosed with autism just after his 27th birthday. The diagnosis explained so much: his isolation, his sensory struggles, his fear of crowds, and his exhaustion after interviews. For Jonathan, it wasn't a setback, it was a breakthrough. He called it liberating. He shared his story on Instagram for World Autism Awareness Day, becoming a voice for others struggling in silence. Alongside this, Jonathan transformed his health. After joining Weight Watchers and finally receiving treatment for a thyroid issue, he lost over 70 pounds. He committed to walking 10,000 steps daily and hasn't looked back. His weight loss wasn't just physical, it gave him back control. He said, "I feel stronger than I have in 10 years." During this personal transformation, he also found love. He met Canadian waitress Michelle Doucet online during a difficult period in his life. She became his partner and emotional anchor, even inspiring his album Belief. Their relationship went public in 2016, and she has supported him through every step of his solo career. Now, Jonathan is preparing to share his full story through an upcoming documentary titled Beyond the High Sea, which will reveal never-before-seen footage of his journey, from bullied child to international opera star. With over 64 million YouTube views, multiple #1 classical albums, and a growing voice in the mental health space, Jonathan Antoine has become more than a singer. He's a symbol of resilience, transformation, and rising through pain. For more inspiring celebrity stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Hollywood Star News, where we bring you the stories behind the spotlight.